You're listening to Everyday Enlightenment from Hub for Podcasting. Hub for Podcasting helps podcasters to produce, market, and distribute their own podcasts. Whether you need just a little help or a lot, we're here for you at Hub for Podcasting. And be sure to check out the wonderful podcasts on our network. Be inspired by everyday people and household names
who share their struggles, uplifting stories, and insights
with courage and authenticity,
empowering individuals
and the collective
to enhance our health,
expand our horizons,
and treasure the moments of our lives.
I'm Patti Teal.
And I'm Anthony Giannini.
Welcome to Everyday Enlightenment. Welcome to Everyday Enlightenment. I'm Patti Teal, and I'm here with my co-host, Anthony Giannini. Hi, Anthony.
Hello, Patti.
How are you today?
I'm doing really well. We just got a lot of rain and snow in parts of Arizona, so it's always good to get water in the desert.
And in Sedona, the snow looks so beautiful on the red rocks. It's so amazing.
Yeah, that is incredible. What a place to be, especially when the snow comes. And even if there's no snow, when you're in Sedona, depending on how the light hits the rocks, it's always a different picture.
Absolutely. Well, Anthony, I've been looking forward to today because one of my favorite people in the whole wide world is our guest, Pamala Oslie. I just adore her, and I'm going to try to not to gush over her too much. But Pamala is an author, consultant, radio show host, professional psychic, intuitive, and aura expert. Pamala has appeared on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, Fox, The Dr. Oz Show, The View, The Ricki Lake Show, Coast to Coast with George Noory, Hallmark's Home and Family, Gaiam TV with Lisa Garr, and many other television and radio shows. She's also been featured in many national magazines. Pam has written 4 successful and popular books: Life Colors, Love Colors, Infinite You, and Make Your Dreams Come True. And she has an extensive clientele, including many celebrities. Pam has spoken at the TEDx Talks, the International Forum on New Science, Fortune 500 companies, and many seminars for professionals in the psychology, education, health fields, and more. She was awarded the Holistic Transformational Leader of the Year Award by the Global Association of Holistic Psychotherapy and Coaching. And as if that wasn't enough, she's the founder of auracolors.com, a site designed to help you create success, joy, and fulfillment. She also developed lovecolors.com to help you find love and friendship by matching you with people who have compatible aura colors. Welcome, Pam.
Hey, Patti, great to see you.
Oh, it's so great to see you too. And, could you start by telling us, are aura colors the same thing as the electromagnetic field?
Yes, aura, that's what an aura is. It's an electromagnetic field that radiates off of everything, actually, but especially living matter. That's what it is.
Yeah, and it's not only around people, it's around every mountain, every tree. It's just around everything, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Patti, we're made of energy. That's what physics is telling us now. It's all energy. And so it makes sense that we radiate energy also, right? Yes, it's around everything. It's
right.
Made of energy. So
yeah. Anthony, I don't mean to talk too much because you just jump right in whenever, because I always have so much to ask Pam. But I wanted to ask you about Anthony's aura. I'm hoping I was right in my pick of what I thought he was.
Well, he's yellow, violet, and tan. And so, let me explain to people first so they don't, well, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, the way I see auras. Now, I've encountered a lot of people on the planet. Believe it or not, a lot of people can see auras. Many of us, most of us, believe it or not, can feel auras. That's why you can meet somebody for the first time and feel really comfortable around them. And other people, you go, I don't want to be close to you. You're not compatible with their energy. So what I see are lots of different bands of color out from people. And the 1 or 2 colors of bands, Anthony, that are the closest to the body are what I call the life colors. And some people see the same colors that I do. A lot of people do. And a lot of people or some people that I've met don't see the same colors, but it doesn't matter. It's not like somebody's right and somebody's wrong. We just have a different experience of the aura. So the 1 or 2 colors of bands that are the closest to your body are called your life colors, and they show your personality, the theme you've chosen for this lifetime, careers you're going to be fulfilled in, relationship compatibility, potential health issues, how you are with money, how you perceive money, all of that. It's all revealed. It doesn't run you. It reveals who you are in this lifetime. So when Patti and I start talking about yellow, violet, white, tan, that's what we're talking about, are these 2 main colors. The outer bands in the aura, those are the ones that change all the time. In my view, this is how I experience the aura. If you encounter somebody, go, no, your aura is always changing. Just listen to what they describe about what that means to them and see if it matches you. So the outer bands, when I see them, are the ones that change all the time, depending on what's going on with you at the time. So for example, Patti, if somebody's angry, red shows up in the outer bands. Since they're not angry anymore, the red goes away. So those change. On vacation and they're playing, they're having a great time. We see a lot of yellow showing up because you yellows are the big kids at heart, Anthony. So anyway, and let me just say this real quick, so people have a basic foundation. I categorize the aura colors into 3 different family types. There are the physical colors, and those are the colors that get what's real predominantly through their bodies by touching it, by physical interaction. And those are reds, orange, yellows, and magentas. Then there are the mental colors, and those are the people that get what's real, or they process predominantly through their logic, through analyzing. So those are 4 different types of tans and greens. And then there are the spiritual emotional colors, and those are the people that process predominantly or get what's real through their intuition, through their inner vision, through more of an emotional or intuitive state. And those are blues, violets, indigo, crystal, and lavender. Now, when we say that Anthony's yellow violet, who's added tan, yellows, Anthony, yellows are basically big kids at heart. Patty's got yellow too, so do I. Yellows are really nice people. They're pleasers or stubborn. We don't like being told what to do, Patty. It's like yellow. We have to, we don't want to be pushed, but yellows are basically big kids at heart. We connect with nature. Yellows need to connect with nature. So yellows are pleasers, but stubborn. And yellows, if they had their way, now, Anthony, you got violet and tan around you. Yellows, if they had their way, either wouldn't be working at all, or they need a lot of freedom and variety. So I see yellows either getting involved in the creative fields or the healing fields, because yellows are energy workers and massage therapists and chiropractors and veterinarians. They're healers. Or they get into the physical fields, like they're sports people and hikers and yoga instructors and, something very physical and with the earth. Now, violets, Anthony, violets are visionaries. They see things way ahead of other people. Violets come from the 3rd eye. You see how fast I'm talking? That's because both of you guys have violet in your aura. And I'll get to the tan in a minute because you've learned the tan, Anthony. But violets are global humanitarians. They're spiritual. They want to make a difference here. I either see them getting involved in the arts or the media. So they're Steven Spielberg and Sting and George Lucas and John and Robert Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Oprah, Bono, George Clooney, Amal Clooney. They're all violet yellows, but they're predominantly violet. Anthony's got a lot of yellow in there. Okay, that makes but violets are the visionaries. So they get involved in either the media or the arts, because violets want to improve the quality of life for people, or they're teachers and therapists, or they get involved in causes. Anthony, you violets can read people, all right? Pay attention to that though, because tans get very analytical. So violets want to make a difference. They want to grow. They want to evolve. They want to help other people. They want to make a difference here. Violets want to contribute. And by the way, Anthony, violets usually don't like working for other people. They want to do their own projects. They're more the visionaries, and they have to be able to do what's in their heart and soul, what their soul's calling them to do. Oh, the reason I said I was talking really fast is watch this. You've learned tan. Tans are very practical, logical, analytical, detail-oriented. I see them a lot getting involved in technology, or they become engineers or computer programmers or technicians, or very detail, logic, step, and tans do this. Watch, Anthony, because you've got two opposites in there. Tans will do this. Here are the facts, here's the data, here's it's grounded, it's practical, take care of the details. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and they'll do 1 to 10, 1 to 10. They'll actually get paychecks and jobs. Violets go 150. They see these big visions, these big pictures. Usually violets want to go travel or do something global or be a humanitarian, or in your case, by the way, sweetie, as much as your yellow doesn't like being told what to do, Anthony, violets are teachers and leaders. They want to get messages out to people. They want to speak higher truths. Okay, where tans are back here going, well, be grounded and do your job, and yellows are like, let's go out in nature and hike and enjoy nature. Okay, do you understand those three? Do you see those three qualities in you?
Wow, I sure do. Yeah, a lot of overlap somehow between all the different qualities too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're definitely going to, sometimes you'll be doing more of your yellow. Sometimes you'll be more of your violet. The trick with having those colors is violets have big dreams and big visions, and they really want to do big projects. Projects is the word for violets. They want freedom. They want to do projects. And like I said, travel or humanitarian causes or go see the globe. Violets usually want to see the globe. And yellows will procrastinate. So watch out for that. And tans will go, well, yeah, you got to be responsible. You got to make a living. You got to pay your bills. You got to be like the rest of the people here. Okay, so as long as you're violet, you trust that vision, you'll be happier. You have quite a bit of violet in there that needs to be able to do your projects. That's the best way I can say for a violet. Okay.
That's amazing, Pam.
It is really amazing. And, I've noticed, Pam, that a lot of the people that I'm close with are violets, blues, or yellows. So I don't know if there's just more of them on the planet or if we're just attracted to people that have the same aura colors.
Yeah, that's usually the case, Patty, since you have those three colors in your aura.
Okay.
The predominant aura color people that I attract to me in my business and my projects and that come to my workshops and seminars are predominantly yellows, blues, and violets.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense then.
Most tans are very logical and scientific. Most tans don't even believe in this stuff because there's not science behind it, but there is science behind it. Or tans can get very cautious with their money, and violets want to explore and grow. So no, you'll attract to you people that have similar aura colors because that's a match. It's a vibrational match.
Yeah. In fact, this isn't very nice of me, but if somebody doesn't have some little bit of yellow in their aura, I think they're not very fun. And I'm just like, I don't think I want to hang out with you. You're too serious.
You're here to bring joy to the planet. Yellows want to have fun. And yellows want to heal. On some level, they want to help others heal, whether it's the earth or animals or people. So, but yellows are definitely fun, sense of humor. And you see how animated I'm getting with you guys? That's because you have yellow in your aura. And when I start connecting with yellows, plus I am too, we get yellows are the colors that get diagnosed with ADD a lot because they have a hard time sitting still. Tans will sit still.
Yeah.
Focus on the details.
And Pam, all colors can be in balance, I should say, and then things are going great for them. But when they're out of balance, as an example, with those colors, when they're out of balance, what would be the problems that one might encounter?
And thank you for bringing that up, Patty, because what I call in power and out of power, when somebody's in power or in balance, as you say, they're living their potential, they're living the positive qualities of themselves. When they're out of power, off balance, they're unhealthy, unhappy qualities. So when a yellow, for example, is in power, yellows are optimistic, they're cheerleaders, they're fun, they're exercising, they stay healthy. Yellows are the perennial Peter Pans on the planet, so they look younger than their years usually. Okay, and as long as they're happy, yellows stay young. So in power, they're optimists, they're fun, they encourage people, they exercise, they're healthy, they know how to take care of themselves. Yellows are natural healers. When yellows are out of power or out of balance, number one, they're the most addictive personalities on the planet. So when yellows are not happy, they don't like conflict. So they'll avoid, they'll run away. And sometimes that can be through overgaming or drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, caffeine, chocolate or sweets, overeating. They'll hide out in addictions, or yellows will get lazy, unmotivated, they'll procrastinate. A lot of yellows get in trouble because people yell at them and go, when are you going to grow up? When are you going to get a real job? And yellows don't like that. They don't want real jobs. So for yellows to get back into power, there's each one of the different aura colors has tools where it helps them get back into balance. Number one for yellows is nature and exercising. Yellows need to connect with nature and they need to move their bodies and exercise. If not, they can get depressed or start getting into addictions. Number two, number one is nature. Number two is exercise. Number three is a sense of humor. All right, but mixed in with that exercise is staying away from negative addictions. So, and then a violet, when violets are in power, they're the most compassionate, visionary leaders on the planet. And so a violet in power has a lot of depth, a lot of humanitarian, a lot of compassion. And in power, they go, look, this is where I'm going. This is what I see. If you want to go that same way, this is great. And if not, you've got your own path to go on. So, and then violets trust their vision and they live big purpose. When violets are out of power, they either get really scattered and overwhelmed, and there's either 20 things they want to do, Anthony, or which way to go next. Okay, because he's got a lot of projects in there he could do. That's multitask, right? Which Tams don't like, by the way. So they either get scattered and overwhelmed, or if a violet's really out of power, they can also get bossy, dictatorial, impatient, holier than thou, narcissistic. It's all about them. It's all about them. Now, Patti, oddly enough, what I've seen with violets is it can be all about them in either the narcissistic, judgmental way, or it can be all about them in fear, because violets can implode also. It's like they're too afraid. Violets get accused of being unrealistic dreamers. The things they want to do is big. It's outside the box. It's not the little box life. And so people can accuse them of being unrealistic dreamers. And sometimes violets buy into that. So then they get afraid that they can't live their vision or their life path. And so then they implode, or violets will go, well, who do I think I am? You know, other people are doing that. I'm not that great. Who do I think I am? I hear that a lot from violets. I don't want people to think I'm a know-it-all or arrogant, but then they implode, but it's still all about them. So what violets need to do is focus on the people they're here to help, focus on their mission. So for violets, if they're out of power and either scattered or getting impatient, frustrated, violets can get very frustrated with humanity, with the stupidity of humanity. Now that's an out of power violet. In power, they know everyone's got their purpose here. So for a violet to get in power, these are the things. Number one on the list for a violet, number one is meditation. Violets have to have alone time. Anthony knows that one too. Violets have to find alone time. You don't have to sit in a corner and ohm, but you've got to have quiet time so you can get your vision connected with your heart and soul, connected with something greater than you, even if it's your own soul. So then you violets are clear. You know where to go. You've got direction. So number one is meditation or quiet alone time. The other things that help violets are travel. When violets travel, it broadens their horizons. Yellows travel for fun. Violets travel to like, wow, look, there's a world out here. They learn, they gather up other information from other cultures. So that's helpful for a violet. Music is very good for violets, but they have to be aware of what kind of music they're listening to because they're very affected by music. So either calming and you know, internal music, you know, what do I want to say, meditation type of music, or empowering, inspiring music that affects a violet. If they start listening to anger, blah, 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 then they get affected by that. And then also being around mentors or other people that are doing what they're here to do, because then it makes it feel more real to a violet. Violets, it's good for them to have mentors, but then violets ultimately outgrow their mentors and become the mentors. So those are just some of the steps for a violet.
That is so interesting, Pam. And I know you said people then add colors to their outer bands. Like you said, Anthony has added some tan, which I'm grateful for because he does a lot of audio editing for our company, which is great, but it can be a bit tedious, I'm sure. So for things like that, maybe it's good to add colors?
People add colors for different reasons. The positive side is like, if they're going to use it for something that their basic colors, like violets don't usually have the patience to deal with the details. Tans do. So if a violet's just out there going, I want to travel and reach the masses and do all this, it's like, and they don't get anything done, then either somebody can add a color to benefit their life, like it helps me get things done, or for example, yellows are not that great with money. They don't care about money. So if they add violet or green or red in there, or I don't mean a red anger color, I mean a red life color, those colors are good with money. So if they add that, they can start getting things done, or they can make more money or whatever, right? So they can add it for a beneficial reason. More often than not, Patti, people have added colors because they've been trained to think that who they are is not okay.
Oh,
Then I've seen, especially men, I've seen yellow violet men add tan there because they feel like they're trained. They've got to be responsible. They have to become a tan. It's expected of them. So I've seen people add colors because they're not accepting of themselves.
I see.
They think they're supposed to be a different way.
Right.
And then that person never totally feels fulfilled. They always feel missing, like they're not being able to live their true colors. All right. So, and then I've seen people finally have an awakening or realization, and then they think they've changed their life colors, and I go, no, you're finally allowing the real you to come out. So add color because you think who you are is not acceptable or wrong. That's not the best way to add a color.
Right. Oh, gosh, so fascinating. I know you mentioned red. There's a red aura color, but then the red overlay where somebody maybe is holding on to anger. I'll let you explain it. I'm actually hoping I don't have that. I've been kind of bad tempered sometimes, so I hope I don't have that red overlay. But could you talk about both the red color and the red overlay and what people do to get rid of a red overlay?
Yeah. Now, by the way, if a violet gets frustrated, it's just because they're not getting things done, like they're not being able to do their mission, or people aren't cooperating with them. So violets can get frustrated and angry, but red is different. Let me explain, first of all, the red life color. People that have red life colors are very physical. It's all about being a physical being on the planet in this lifetime. So they can be truck drivers and construction workers, or even surgeons, or even dancers. It's all about expressing themselves physically. They're not always usually spiritual, not always, unless there's a second color in there. Violets are down to earth, strong-willed. Reds. Reds. So Madonna's a red. Sean Penn is red with some yellow. Russell Crowe's a red. A lot of times, though, do you understand? Even when they play those characters, like Russell Crowe, the Gladiator, we buy into that because they're strong and physical. But they do have tempers. Reds do. They tend to be loners, hot tempers. That's why it's good for them to go have jobs like truck driver when they get to be by themselves. Now, that's different than a red overlay. That's in the outer bands. A red overlay is even different from a red just flaring up temporarily because they're angry. A red overlay, people are not born with red overlays, but they add it in their aura typically when they're young, typically in childhood, if they felt physically, mentally, or emotionally abandoned, rejected, abused, or if they had a life-threatening situation and they almost died, then red is added. They add red in their aura, not consciously, but they add red in their aura because it's a protective color. It's strong, it's grounded. It makes them feel safer, especially blues, yellows, but they're more sensitive. So if they add red, it was for protection. Now, that's smart to do when you're a child because it helps you be protected and stay here. As a person gets older, it's not a good thing to still have in your aura because it can turn into either anger or self-sabotage. So Steve Jobs had a red overlay. He was a violet, big time violet with some yellow, with a big red overlay. John Lennon, yellow violet with a red overlay. You can see the anger, but a red is not a healthy thing to carry around with you because it can, for a yellow, it turns into health problems. For a blue, it can sabotage relationships because blues are all about love and relationships. Their whole thing, teachers, counselors, nurses, are all about helping people, but their priority is love and spirituality. So a red overlay on a blue sabotages relationships. Red overlay on a violet sabotages their mission here. They can't see clearly, and then they can get into a lot of drama and attract drama. Also, a red overlay can attract people not liking the person or not feeling safe around them. So I know of 3 ways to get rid of a red overlay, and I'm doing this very quickly. Of course, there's much more in depth. One way to do it, and this usually only works for yellows, violets, creative people, and that's visualizing the red disappearing or melting and dissolving. It's using their visualization. The only way a person will let go of a red overlay is if they feel safe here. because it was put on because they didn't feel safe. As long as it doesn't feel safe, they'll hold on to it. So visualizing it disappearing or dissolving or melting into the earth, number one. Number two is rewriting their past in their imagination. So that can include something such as seeing themselves at their current age, going back and protecting themselves as a child, rewriting it so that that little child feels safe. And believe it or not, this works. If they can help the little child feel safe, there's somebody there taking care of it, there's somebody protecting it, the red starts going away. Or it can include the having a conversation with the adult or adults on a soul level and resolve it, like be the therapist. Why were you like that? Why were you so abusive? What was going on with you that you were so unhappy? So it's basically rewriting your past in your imagination so that you solve it back then. The third way to get a red overlay off is therapy. And that can work for a lot of people. The color that has challenges with therapy, though, are violets, because you violets usually know more than the therapist. You have to be with somebody who really gets it, who gets it, not somebody who's going to spend years and years and years talking about your past. Because after a while, a violet's like, come on, they need to move forward. Violets are visionaries and people. So violets, if they're going to do therapy, they got to have someone work with someone who really gets it, who goes in there deep and gets something happening. Does that make sense?
It sure does. And Pam, can anyone learn to see auras? I know I see like a silvery color around people and objects, and very occasionally, like if I've been at the beach and totally relaxed, I've seen colors walking around them as they walk down the beach. But on a regular basis, I don't see the colors. How can I do that? And all of us.
Absolutely possible for anyone to learn how to see and or feel auras. I've got that. I think it's on my blog. I teach people that. I know it's in some of my courses that I have online. Anyway, yes. So mostly the colors that have the best ability to learn how to see them first. Sorry, we're talking about the same colors here. I do see 14 different aura colors now. As they come from the third eye, they have the time starting to see them because they can see flashes of light, or they can see people on the other side. They can see things more advanced. Violets can see it. Blues tend to feel people emotionally. Yellows feel it kinesthetically. Reds, oranges, they're more physical. So one of the ways that people can learn how to see it, number one, people have to not be afraid to see it. They have to be willing to be able to see it. You'd be amazed at how many people are afraid to do any kind of advanced abilities.
Really?
Otherwise they could see something wrong, or they'll get in trouble, or it doesn't go along with their belief systems, whatever. So being willing to. And then one of the keys to do it is, for me, it's putting somebody in front of a white backdrop. I see things, you see my whole home is white.
Right. Yeah.
For me, it's easier to see something if they're in front of something white. Now, other people say they see it better if there's color. So just practice with it. And then one of the things to do is to start looking at somebody with what I call soft eyes. You know how you find yourself staring? But it's kind of fuzzy. You're not really paying attention to it. So soft eyes, and either just look past the person's head or at their forehead or another place on their, over their shoulders, someplace where it's soft, because the mistake people make is they try too hard.
Sure.
Like, I see it, I can't see it. And then you're struggling and you're blocking it. If you just relax, let it come to you, most people, and I started this way too, most people start out by seeing a white glow, especially around the head. Because believe it or not, the aura is stronger around the head, which is why if you look at those ancient paintings and the spirit teachers that had halos around them, that's an aura. So just if you see this white glow around somebody, or a bird or an animal or trees, they give off just a little bit of a white glow. But that's how people usually start seeing it. I don't want people to get too attached that they have to see the colors, or they may see different colors. But if you relax and just practice at it, because that's how we've learned how to do everything, Patti, pretty much is practicing. Learn how to eat, talk, drive, all that by practicing. But mostly it's not fighting it, it's relaxing. That's one of the tools. I mean, people can learn how to feel it just with their hands by moving close to somebody, and notice when they start feeling energy or heat coming off of them. When people go, well, that's just body heat, and I go, that's energy. It's the same thing as an aura.
Oh, that's so fascinating. Now, some people who might be listening or watching might not know their aura colors. They might have an idea, but aren't sure. And you have a quiz on auracolors.com that's will help them figure it out, correct?
Yeah. The quiz is in both my books, Life Colors and Love Colors, and then all the descriptions. And then on my website, auracolors.com, AURA colors, the American version, COLORS, auracolors.com. There's a free quiz. There's a free beginner's course with tons and tons of videos on there. So people can go watch little videos on each one of the colors. Because once you start learning the different definitions or the different qualities and description of the different colors, it's so easy to know what your family members are, your loved ones, your friends. You can go, oh, he's definitely a green. I know that's a green. Oh yeah, my husband's a tan.
Right,
oh,
it is.
I think my son's an orange. It's like because the descriptions are pretty distinct. Now, some people, like especially yellow violet men or yellow tan men, they can test really high on the blue. But the only time I've seen, now granted, I haven't seen everybody on the planet, but the only time I've seen blue aura colors around males is they've been gay. I don't know what that is, but if a male who's not gay takes the quiz and they think they're a blue, they're most likely a yellow violet or a yellow tan or some sort of yellow combination, because they're very similar.
Yeah. Gosh, so interesting. But Pam, I know you so well. I've known you for years. You've helped me with so many challenges, I should say, that I've had throughout my lifetime, that in addition to being able to see people's colors and know what those colors mean, you actually can talk to people on the other side. You've helped find missing people. You talk about walking into other dimensions. I almost just feel like rather than it being woo-woo, it's science, as you always say, it's quantum physics. You just seem to be more of an evolved human being than most of us. And I know I'm not trying to make you brag about yourself, but would you say this is where we're all going in humanity, to have these types of abilities?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I feel like I'm more adventurous than a lot of people. I like expanding my boundaries. I like learning more. It's just kind of who I've always been my whole life. So I wrote about, my book, Infinite You, talks about these advanced abilities that we all have. And it's part of our natural evolution where we're going, which is why so many more people now are interested in auras and psychic abilities and mediumship, talking to those on the other side. And now I really have fun talking about parallel universes. But this is all physics. This is not woo-woo. Yes, I live in California, but I'm not a woo-woo person. I study quantum physics. I've spoken at science conferences. So it's their natural abilities. And what's so cool, Patti, is once I started unlayering or expanding or opening up to these advanced abilities, boy, once you start doing this, there's no limits. Remote viewing and mediumship, talking to people on the other side. I can tune into people's other lives, their past lives, their future lives, because they're all happening simultaneously. Yeah, I can talk to people who's if I do a reading for someone, I can tune into them remotely. I can tune into their loved ones, whether they're still here or not. So it's science is calling it non-local mind, where our minds, who we are, is not, it doesn't come from our brains. That's the old science. That's Newtonian physics. Excuse me. Quantum physics is basically the same way of non-local mind, which means our consciousness is everywhere. Our consciousness can go everywhere. Once we really start realizing who we are, Patti, life is so much more interesting to me. It's so much more fun. Can people develop these same skills? Yes. And again, key is knowing that they're real. Key is not being afraid to explore. And that's why I said I just consider myself more adventurous. It's like, you're going to tell me I can't do something? Oh, just watch. Don't tell me I can't do something. Don't tell me I can't do something. I'll go do it. So it's, and I teach a course on my website called Quantum Leap. It was a 2-day course that I taught. I videotaped the whole thing, and that's available to people. I'm teaching people. We even teach people in that workshop how to bend spoons. It's like mind over matter. It's like it's all energy. So this is honestly where I believe consciousness is going, where I don't know if everybody on this planet is going to do it in this lifetime, but a lot of people are. A lot of people are already experiencing these advanced awarenesses and advanced abilities. It's not just me. There's kids showing up all over the planet that remember their other lives, that are psychic, that can communicate telepathically. So we're definitely something shifting.
Do you feel that shift is happening now in the current timeline, and then maybe it's increasing, and these abilities or this phenomenon is going to become more apparent for people?
That's it. That's exactly it. We are in, as uncomfortable as it is right now, we're in a major shift. Major shift. We're just at the beginning of the shift. Well, we started entering into it already. Unfortunately, when people resist shift, then you see chaos. People want to hold on to the old way out of fear. And so then there'll be conflict and resistance and fear. But for those of us that I'm not getting into the conflict, I go, let's go. So yeah, eventually, whether it happens in this decade, if it happens in 50 years from now, it's definitely where we're headed. We've already entered into it.
And in the same way that we're headed in that direction, you could say that we've already been there in our ancient past, or
Yes.
we are there.
Well, okay, now if you want to start talking about parallel universes and that there's no such thing as time on the other side, aspects of our soul are currently experiencing other lives, past lives, future lives. They're all happening simultaneously. So I feel like what we're doing is evolving our awareness right now in this lifetime, our awareness to realize that all of those things are already possible for us. We're capable of doing it. And on some level, aspects of our soul are already experiencing them, even if it's quote unquote in this lifetime. See how complicated this can get? You see,
it's a little freaky, isn't it, to think that there's others of us, that are way more evolved, that are doing things and living different lifetimes, and that maybe we could just go shift into that dimension.
Oh, at some point we'll have to have a conversation about parallel universes, which quantum physics has evidence is real. And I know how to navigate parallel universes now consciously. We all do it. We're all going in and out of parallel universes all the time, but because we've been trained to think there's only one reality, that's what we just think that it's the same one all the time, but it's not. We're moving in and out of them all the time. And I've learned how to do it intentionally to change my life dramatically. That's how people have had spontaneous remissions. They had cancer and then they don't. And science can't figure out why it is. And people having deja vu. Those are all connected with parallel universes in this lifetime as well. There's other versions of you running around in this lifetime. Let me explain this real quick because it sounds complicated, but in the room you're in right now, there's at least 10 radio stations broadcasting around you, right? Mm-hmm. All those radio waves are around you right now, but you're not aware of them because you're not tuned into those frequencies. So you don't know they're there. You go to your tuner, you put it on 101.7, you're going to hear the music, the talk program that's on that frequency. That becomes your reality. Then if you go and change it to 99, now that show becomes your reality, that music, that talk. Now 101.7 is still going on around you. It still exists, but you're not tuned into that frequency, so you're not aware it's there. That's what they're saying parallel universes are like. Every time you make a choice, I don't care if it was as simple as, Patti, you chose to wear blue today, but you could have just as easily worn green, right? Mm-hmm. Well, there's one you, and these are subtle, but there's one you that actually chose to wear green and is having a parallel life to you right now as we speak. Now, some of them are very dramatic. There's a you that chose to never get married. There's a you that chose to marry your current husband. There's a you that chose to marry somebody you met in high school and you got 5 kids with that person. Do you understand? So every time you made a choice, is this bizarre? But it's quantum physics.
It's so bizarre to think that there's all those me's out there living a different life.
Yeah, well, that shows we're infinite beings, and we can say we're immortal and infinite beings, but it's like, no, this is an aspect of being infinite. And we've got, we've got Back to the Future and sliding doors and frequency. And one of my favorites called Yesterday. We do movies about parallel universes.
Yes.
They think it's science fiction, but a lot of things we used to think that was science fiction, there's now science fact. Flight, going to the moon, cell phones, sliding doors even. That came from Star Trek.
Yeah, and some of those decisions, could just affect whole societies. if it's a big decision of a political leader, say, and then one reality, somebody else is the leader and it went a whole nother direction, then it affects all those people. It's just it's almost beyond my poor little brain's ability to imagine.
But once we really get that, I got to sit for hours with the world famous quantum physicist David Deutsch, who his thing is all about parallel universes. And he said, for example, in one lifetime, the Bay of Pigs didn't go so well, and we actually had a nuclear war, right? Another in the war, and we're all speaking German. In another one, this was so bizarre that he said this, but I know it for truth. He said, in one lifetime, in one version of you in this lifetime, you may have already died, but there's still others of you that are still alive.
It's just mind-boggling. Yes.
Once you get this is real, every time we discover something like this, like imagine aerodynamics. As soon as we understood aerodynamics was a real principle, we had more freedom. We could fly. As soon as we realized,
I like the idea of more freedom.
More freedom and more fun. So as soon as they started talking about parallel universes, I went, wow, if those are real, we should be able to use those to have more freedom, which is what we did. There's more freedom.
But in addition then to parallel universes, there's also other dimensions. That's not the same, right? That's just different dimensions completely.
It's the concept of people when they cross over, when they die, they're still alive. They're just in another frequency, which is why I can still talk to them. That most people think they're gone, or they can't, or they're someplace far away, or whatever, and so they don't know they can still communicate with them. It's just it's all just different frequencies. It's just a different energy. It's just a different plane of consciousness. That's what I like to say. It's all conscious.
Wow. It's amazing, isn't it, Anthony? Does it boggle your mind as much as it does mine?
I'm all jumbled up over here. So
about Aura all the way over to parallel universes.
Very important points this episode. I really appreciate your expertise, Pam.
Yeah, it's been so fascinating. I just, I've got a lot to think about, or maybe not think about. Maybe I should just meditate about it, because it's just beyond my comprehension on a mental level, I think.
At this time, we're going
this
there.
time.
Can you imagine the first time somebody came back and said, hey guys, the world's round? People would go, wait, how can people stay on the other side of the world? They would fall off. What are you talking about? But after a while, the mass consciousness went there. No, it's just like, well, for most of us, we believe the world is round. Not everybody.
Are you willing to make a comment on flat Earth and round Earth and the cosmology of our current planetary situation?
Well, let's put it this way. Some people are actually experiencing the reality that the world's still flat. And if you just go by our physical senses, it does look flat. And it doesn't, our physical senses don't tell us it's round. Our physical senses don't tell us the world is moving either. So for some people, that is really their reality. Others, it's a round Earth, and we just take that for granted. Watch this. I believe the Earth is multidimensional. So it's not just round, it goes into other dimensions too. So just depends on where you want to go. Now, when people, do you understand? It's like the iceberg. Well, that's an iceberg. No, there's a lot more under the water that we can't see. It's the same way with the Earth. It's all just energy, it's consciousness. So Anthony, so there's the flat Earth thing. Okay, people create their own reality. So that's the reason why you can't argue with somebody about their beliefs, because their beliefs create their reality, and so that's real for them. There's no reason to argue with unless we shift beliefs, we're not going to see it eye to eye. So, and so what was your actual question about the current situation?
Well, Pam, I think maybe our listeners would appreciate, with all this expanded perspective, all of these colors, all of these other dimensions, what is the purpose of life from your perspective, and what can people do to really seize the moment?
Okay, this is my perspective and understanding of life. Do you understand everybody else is going to have? Let me do an experiment. You have time to do this real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
Right now, take your thumb and hold it about, 10 to 12 inches away from you, right? Find something in the room that you can block out with your thumb, all right? And just block it out. Now, do not move. Just find something you can block out with your thumb. Now, do not move your thumb, okay? Now, just look at that item with your left eye only. Now look at it with your right eye only. Now your left eye only. Now your right eye only. Okay. Did you see how that object moved from one side of your thumb to the next?
Sure did.
So watch. Okay, you're done, Anthony. That's good. So watch. Your two eyes on your same head with your same thinking and same belief system and same mind, and yet your own two eyes couldn't agree where that was in the room. Okay, so how do we expect anybody else on this planet to have the same beliefs or perspectives? There are different bodies even. So this is my perspective of the reason, the purpose for life, okay? And remember, I'm a yellow now, okay? And yellows are here to have fun. I honestly believe, one, that we're souls, adventurous, fun-loving souls who love to create. So we travel, it's all consciousness, across time and space and locations and eras, having fun and having experiences. It's like the same reason we go to the movies. We can go and learn something. So we're expanding the consciousness of the universe. We're expanding the all that is or God or whatever you want to call it. We're having experiences for the fun of it. This is the same reason we're going to the movies. We can learn, we can have emotions, we can have experiences. We want to expand, we want to experience. You understand? When people go, well, why would somebody choose to have a life where, you know, they're suffering or dying? I go, same reason people go to horror movies and dramas, and for the feeling of it, to learn something, to gain the experience from it. If we're eternal beings, we'd get very bored just sitting over in heaven playing harps for eternity, right? Like we chose a physical existence for the experience to taste and smell and see and love and hug and have all those senses and all those emotions. We're choosing this. People think we're here, we're being punished, or this is a form of hell.
I'm sorry to laugh, but sometimes it could feel that way.
Yeah, but it's all our consciousness. We really get what quantum physics is saying. It's all consciousness. And we're creating everything, which is what most people can't handle that yet. But I'll tell you, once you get that, man, it opens up freedom. So
well, it is hard to handle because you go, I did this to myself. Why did I do that? You know, so I can understand why they would feel that way.
Well, yeah. And why we did it is for the experience.
Yes.
Whether it's just to experience the emotion. So we go, oh, now I know what anger feels like. Oh, now I know what fear feels like. Oh, now I know what happy and joy and laughter and fun and love. Now I know what all those feel like. We like that. We're kind of entertainment junkies. We're kind of adventure junkies. We like to learn and we don't want to be bored. And that's what I believe. And if people go, well, we're here to learn, I go, well, then that's what you're here to do. Go for it. Learn. There's ways to learn fun. You can learn hard lessons. You can learn fun lessons. It's all expansion. It's all having experiences. That's my answer.
Great answer.
Everybody else will have their own perspective, and that's okay.
Gosh, it was so much fun and so interesting to talk to you today, Pam. I want to remind everybody that your website is auracolors.com. In addition to your books, you have a radio show, and also you do private readings, which I highly recommend. You're amazing. And thank you so much for being with us today on Everyday Enlightenment. I loved it.
Well, thank you for having me on, and thanks for letting me play at this level and discuss things at this level with you guys.
Oh, it was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, Patti. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Everyday Enlightenment. To subscribe, listen to past episodes, or if you'd like to be featured on Everyday Enlightenment, visit hubforpodcasting.com.